Hello, One Knowledge, with you, Dr. Stone, Chapter 218, WWW. And in the span of less than 20 pages, Senku develops the internet. Senku creates the internet basically from scratch, and I love it. Oh my god, I freaking love it. Especially just, oh god, Senku, he's such a troll. He says, oh, we're gonna make the internet using Tochu tea, which I am definitely pronouncing wrong. I'm absolutely pronouncing wrong. I'm sorry about that. I'm also gonna pronounce the word ukomia incorrectly, as well as ukomia elastomer. All those words I am saying wrong. I'm clearly saying wrong, and I apologize. I'm just not very good at pronouncing things. I'm not actually sure why I run a YouTube channel. Anyway, though, even though everyone is very, very confused when Senku explains he's going to make the internet using tea, they all go along with it without any other explanation. They're like, alright, yeah, Senku must have a plan. He's clearly not gone insane, so let's go over to Hiroshima and find those tea leaves Senku is so desperate to get. And they all sit back and have some nice, relaxing tea, have some snacks as well, make some oysters, and I just love it. I freaking love it. They're doing all this while, not at all questioning Senku, not all asking for any real explanation of why exactly he's doing any of this, or why exactly it had come all the way over here for these tea leaves. I mean, even Chelsea, who's well aware of the fact that Tochu tea is made from ukomia leaves, seemed very, very confused when Senku explained that he was going to make the internet using those tea leaves. But Chrome figures out surprisingly quickly. As soon as Senku explains that it's water and electricity resistant, Chrome figures it out, and Chrome probably has no idea that in the modern age, there are cables going across the internet that, allow high-speed internet to go back and forth throughout the entire world. He has no idea this concept exists, but just from learning that it's water and electricity resistant, he's able to figure it out. He's able to figure exactly what it is Senku is planning. And I love it. I freaking love it. A wired connection across the entire world. They literally create a cable going from Japan all the way to America. Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. And of course, they have to stop off in Hawaii to get some premium coffee. Oh, I love you, Ryu. I freaking love you. And I honestly kind of wish, the entire chapter just of them being in Hawaii, relaxing, taking a breather, getting some fancy coffee beans made. That would have been just so amazing. And everyone could have, gone swimming and have fun and enjoy the sun. But nope, because they're moving on. They have to keep going forward to connect the entire freaking world. I mean, seriously, the entire world they currently have built together has now been connected, now been united via these internet cables they laid. I mean, seriously, it goes all the way from India to Indonesia to Australia to Japan, and I'm guessing back out to Spain as well, somehow, some way. This is just an absolutely insane endeavor, and I feel like, at the very least, this must have taken Senku a year, maybe 2 years to actually pull off, to actually make enough cables to basically wrap around the entire planet. Oh my god, I really do wish this chapter had been longer, or at least it had been, multiple chapters showing Senku actually building the factories, actually building the cables and needed to actually get this freaking done. It's just such an amazing process, and I so hope the anime takes things a bit more slowly when it gets to this point. But anyway, then the time comes, everyone's waiting with bated breath. Brody is literally sweating with excitement. Oh god, I love Brody, I freaking love him. As Senku plugs in the cable, as Senku plugs it in the internet for the first time ever, and in that moment, the entire world is united as one. The age of the internet has come again, people! Huzzah! Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. And we see everyone united as one for the first time ever. A lot of familiar faces show up on the screens, and a lot of unfamiliar faces as well. I mean, the one guy in the back, a lot of people online are saying that's supposed to be Neil deGrasse Tyson, that's supposed to be a parody of him, which, would make a lot of sense as a reference. And the various Einstein-looking guy on the left, I am fairly certain we've seen him before. He was the guy that Xeno was talking to about all the sparrows being petrified, right before all of humanity was petrified. So he's an old friend of Xeno's. I like that. Especially because I've seen a lot of people online saying, oh, this whole thing would have gone a lot faster if they woke up other, rocket scientists to help them with this process. And as it turns out, they did. They actually did wake up other rocket scientists, other engineers, other people who could actually be useful for, getting a rocket up and running before they actually started trying to get a rocket up and running. Oh, I love it. And so does Yuzu and Jinro, who are literally brought to tears here. I mean, Yuzu is just, so amazed, so happy they're able to unite, they're able to connect with one another after so very, very long. And Jinro is just happy he doesn't have to transcribe any Morse code anymore, which Oh my god, that is cold. That is freaking cold-blooded. Especially because I think it's the first time he's seen his brother in like 5 years at this point, maybe 10 years. It has been a very, very long time since they've seen one another. And all Gennaro can think is, oh, thank you, God. I don't have to deal with Morse code anymore. Oh, that's cold. That is so, so cold. But anyway, then they're just all standing there in absolute and complete awe over the fact the world's been connected for the first time in 3,000 freaking years. Senku decides to cut the instructions and explain, they need to get moving, they need to start working on the rocket because it's going to require a lot of parts, and thankfully they have engineers all over the world. Of course, actually explaining, the various blueprints to the various engineers across the world won't be all that easy. I mean, that could require them, actually mailing out blueprints, which could take weeks and weeks travel across the ocean. But thankfully, that's not an issue here, because Senku was able to build e-paper, or in distant ancestor e-paper. Something like e-paper. I'm not actually sure what e-paper is, honestly. What is e-paper? Electronic paper, also sometimes electronic ink, e-ink, or electrophoretic displays, are displays that mimic the appearance of ordinary ink on paper. Unlike conventional flat panel displays that emit light, electronic paper displays reflect light like paper. Okay, so that answers that question. And Senku explains, they basically just have to draw on a screen, and that can project it all the way across the world to the engineers on the other side of the planet. Honestly, this seems way, way simpler than them all having, videos up and running. I mean, they're doing a video call here, which I feel like was a bit too much. I feel like it was a step too far, given what they already have built up to this point. And, it probably would have made way, way more sense for them just to have, audio-only calls here or something like that. Not actually, showing them being able to see one another. I mean, yes, there's some static, so there's that. But at the same time, I feel like that's, a bit too much, a bit too advanced. Maybe they should have looked more, distorted, more pixelated. That would have made it look more realistic. I'm not sure about that. But I mean, I do get it. They're showing everyone's faces here to explain that, oh, we're all connected. We can all see one another. We can all, become part of the big, grander plan of humanity as one. Huzzah! But I do just think that was just a tiny, tiny bit of a stretch, especially when, they're struggling to find a way to project their blueprints to the other side of the world. I mean, seriously, there's a big thing like, oh, how can we show blueprints to one another? It's like, just hold it up to the screen. I mean, there's a camera, obviously. Just hold it up to the camera. They'll see on their side, and that's it. That's, problem solved. Honestly, if they have cameras as advanced, actually needing to, make the e-paper at all seems a little bit silly. Though I guess the e-paper method does allow for the blueprints to be modified more. Like, someone in Japan can make a blueprint for a booster rocket, send it over to an engineer in India. The Indian engineer could then, modify and send it over to another engineer in Spain, and so on and so forth. I guess that's the advantage of, the e-paper method rather than just, holding it up to the camera like this. Can you see it now? Is it coming through? Oh, the can you hear me now of the Stone Age. I love it. I freaking love it. Anyway, though, once all that's settled, once they have the plans basically in motion for making the millions and millions of rocket parts they need to get to the moon, the next step of the plan is to actually figure out, okay, let's train our astronauts to actually get to the moon. And there are some interesting bits on this page. I mean, for one thing, Chrome is the one who actually tries out the rocket seat, which really does seem like foreshadowing, like he's going to be the one that's going to be in the rocket seat. He's going to be the one that actually goes to the moon. I mean, he says this would take some getting used to. So is he going to have more time experiencing the rocket seat? Is he actually going to go through the rocket training and end up going with Senku to the moon? Or going up to the moon instead of Senku? I mean, I know this is very, very contentious in the community. I've said for a while that Chrome might go up instead of Senku because, he is the new scientist. He is the scientist of the new age. And it would feel like such an amazing end to his story if he was the one that went up instead. Oh, I love that. I freaking love it. Also, Chrome is probably just, way more physically fit than Senku is after a lifetime of, exploring and searching and just moving around. While Senku gets winded very, very easily. I mean, let's not forget, Byakuya failed to qualify as an astronaut because he wasn't a strong swimmer. So I can definitely see Senku falling in the same boat, basically being unable to do it right now. Maybe, next rocket launch, next time they go to the moon, next time they go to space, they'll bring Senku along. But for this time, this one time, it's going to be Chrome. That does leave the question of who else is going to with them. I mean, Ryu is very, very confident, one of those seats is as good as mine. You know what? Of course it is. Ryu basically owns the entire world. He's Jeff Bezos. He owns the shipping companies. He is in incredibly good shape. He's probably gone through astronaut training even, in the modern day before he was petrified. I could certainly see him doing that. There's actually For those of you who don't know, there's actually a service you can hire that allows you to get a simulation of what it's like to be in space. How it works is they take a plane and they fly it way, way high into the sky, and then they turn down and they fall really, really, really fast. And that's able to create a simulation of you being weightless, of you being in space. It's very, very expensive to do, but Ryu is rich. Really overwhelmingly, stupidly rich. So if there's anyone in the Kingdom of Science who's actually experienced what it's like to be in space, it's probably him. So yeah, Ryu definitely earned a spot on the space shuttle. But then we have this astronaut standing here, and there's something very, very interesting about him. Look at his hips. He has 2 guns on his hips. And who in the series do we know who carries around 2 guns? Good old Stanley. I think this is Stanley in the spacesuit. I think Stanley is going to the moon with Senku or Chrome and Ryu. I mean, people seem to be convinced that Tsukasa is the obvious choice for their muscle, as he's, the strongest high school primates. But Stanley is the world's strongest soldier and has gone through a whole bunch of military training, probably even on, super powerful flight simulators, things like that. So, yeah, he would be a much, much better choice here. And, I think it'd be a great chance for him to get some redemption. I mean, there's question of whether or not it actually needs redemption. I've seen a lot of people online say that, Stanley did nothing wrong, even when he was shooting at children, because, it was actually Xeno who ordered him to do it, but still, I would feel much better about him as a character if he actually had a chance to be redeemed, actually had a chance to do some good in the series, and if he wasn't, just sidelined until the epilogue, until everyone was woken up again, the world was happy and saved, yay! I really do think Stanley will be on that space shuttle. So right now, if there is a 3-man team, my best choice is it being Ryu, Chrome, and Stanley. But please, let me also down below, which I think is Senku actually creating the internet in 15 freaking pages. What do you think of having video calls? I mean, do you think that's a step too far? Do you think the quality of the videos is too high? Do you think it would have made more sense if it was, a bit more pixelated maybe? I'm not sure about that. And what's next? I mean, they're doing astronaut training. How exactly are they going to, select their astronauts and test their astronauts and train their astronauts? Because, I mean, I have some idea. I've seen, videos or various shows that did parodies of astronaut training, and it's intense. It is seriously, seriously intense, and I really can't imagine Senku's going to do all that well in, simulated zero-G, simulated astronaut training as he's, gets spun around, moved at incredibly fast speeds. I'm going to imagine, next chapter is going to involve a whole lot of vomiting, so I'm looking forward to that, kind of not really. But please, leave me thoughts down below, and be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss my next video, and until then, peace!